Hey Jim, how you doing?
Mm. Huh. Good.
All right,
Do you,
man. Hey,
you see me right now?
I do. Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Oh,
Yep.
what about
Yeah,
now? This is kind of new to me.
yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I can also see you.
Oh, you
I'm
can. Okay, I wasn't sure. You know,
yeah,
having a little lunch here. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing well. Just kind of getting everything situated. Came across this really wonderful app that can like generate certificates automatically. So I've kind of been playing with that all day. Um, because what's interesting is for those teachers that kind of complete this, those OCSS members, they get that certificate of completion. So what I'm trying to do is set up a system so that literally they just type in their name and then the certificate is generated and sent to them automatically.
Nice.
And I think I found this cool app that can do that, but it's just, like anything, trials and tribulations, wins and
Well,
losses.
yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity to try new one. Uh, what is the necessity is the mother of invention? Is that the quote?
Yeah, yeah.
But two things. One, we got to do new things, and number two, rarely do you have the time to actually experiment and trial and error. A lot of times technology's, thrown at us, do this, try this, learn this, and do it by the start of the school year, which is like tomorrow, you know? Um, so having this amount of time is really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm really loving about like just if there's a bright side out of this whole experience of everything that's unfolded has been I've been able to tinker with new stuff and just having time to go online and watch these YouTube videos and um, learn how to do new things because it seems like just in the course of the academic year everything's just like rush 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 go go go. I've been able to kind of experiment and tinker and put myself out my comfort zone to pick new stuff up.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
it's been
yeah,
nice.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm uh with technology, I'm like right in the middle of the bell curve. You got your, innovators, and then you got your early practitioners, and then you got kind of middle of the bell curve, and then those that wait, and then those who like completely resist. So, I've always been like, I kind of wait and see if it takes hold and if I really need to learn how to do it or not, because sometimes you're told to do stuff and then it fades away. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, this has been good. I mean, like right now, I'm trying to remove my video part so I can actually like enjoy my lunch, and I can't figure out how to remove the video because we really just need to
Oh, yeah.
talk.
Like if you see it, if you put your cursor like right in the center of the screen
Yeah.
and then you scroll down, you'll see to the left there's a button that has a video camera with a line through it. It should be a box that pops up.
You
You can
so
just click.
click on like the where I'm being filmed right now.
Yep. And then
Okay.
if
Yeah.
you move cursor down, there's a circle. It's the second circle over the camera with a line through it.
See, my camera is on. It doesn't have a line through it though.
Yeah, if you click that button, that camera, it should deactivate your camera.
That's. I don't know if I'm hitting the right button or not there. Hmm. Okay, that's just the view. And then that minimizes me, but I guess, yeah. Oh, wait a second here. Hold on.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay. Oh, okay. Those buttons there. I was looking at the ones by my name. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's been great, Brad. I mean, you really did a good job. You're like, Winston Churchill. This was your finest hour, Brad.
No. It's been a total team effort. And I was actually working with Dave this morning to get him situated. He has an amazing presentation, some great resources, kind of insights, but just kind of getting him familiar with the tech. Uh, and that's, yeah, just been kind of a lot. But it's going to be, I think we had like 50 teachers registered for this webinar.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So obviously they're kind of hit or miss, but what's really nice is that um, everything's going to be archived and recorded.
Mhm.
So even for those people that just can't make it, and I'm learning like a lot of what teachers are, it's kind of like, I need it now versus thinking, oh, you know what, there's this webinar coming up next week. Maybe I'll schedule. But it seems like more and more teachers are going towards like, hey, I need this right now. So that on demand piece where we can record this and get it up on our website, I think might be a huge help.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I said, it's we could really move to having the OCS in front of people throughout the year, where before it was kind of the conference in the fall, and then maybe you forgot about it. But now we can do something with winter break with webinars. The spring um, conferences, regional conferences. At least now we've had two in a row in Southwest Ohio, so that's kind of being embedded. And then webinars and things to do in the summertime. Yeah, this is all good. I think we're going to see a nice boost in our membership this year.
Yeah. How's your son doing? Everything go well with getting them
Yeah,
situated?
yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a bummer, like everyone else, and it didn't seem like that long ago we moved him up there, but just had to adjust. I mean, he would have been done like the end of April. They finished pretty early.
Mhm.
So he had May and June and July to work and make money. So, yeah, he's doing good. He's had a good freshman year. Freshman year is adjustment year, as you know, and being on your own. And he's done well. He's liked by a lot of people. He's a good dude, and he's going to be fine. It was just, yeah, it was a little sad to see it cut short, but the big picture is we're all safe and sound and healthy right now.
Yeah. We made the University of Akron made the announcement. It was like a few days ago that they were closing down their dormitories, and there are exemptions that students can petition for, like if they don't have any other place to stay. And I was talking with some of our leadership about, because those exemptions were coming in, and just some of the stories are just really heartbreaking about university students that just have nowhere else to go. Um, and that if the university was to kind of require them to leave, that they'd be homeless, pretty much like in shelters. Um, and all I kept thinking about is you have all these university students enrolled in these classes, and you know as well as I do, some of these professors are well grounded in using instructional tools and resources. And then there's others where this just has not been on the radar. And so the quality of these courses can kind of be suspect. And then outside of that, though, it's the trauma that a lot of these students are kind of up against.
Yeah,
I just feel like once the grades are posted, it's like that grade will never be a true reflection.
I think Akron has something like 60% of the students that get Pell Grants. It's pretty high.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So that just that implies a certain level of income, and some kids are doing everything they can just to be a college student, and then something like this, you just can't go back to your nice 4-bedroom house in the suburbs with mom and dad. That's not the case with a lot of those kids at schools like Akron and other schools.
Yeah. And even our international students, it's been really a journey with everything that they've kind of been up against. Hey, I was going to say, I know some people are joining us now. So Dr. Dave Harms will be here in a few minutes. He's got a wonderful session that's scheduled, put together. So if you can just kind of hang out with us for the next 10 minutes, we'll get things started here soon. Also,
just real quick, Dr. Dave, he takes his sound checks really seriously. So it's a while to warm up, but he's great once he's got the guitar tuned up.
So Dr. Harms is he's in a really amazing band. He's a guitarist, and I'm sure I was trying to convince him to get the session started today to maybe jam out a little bit for us, thinking that we could all kind of benefit from. But I'm sure he'll talk about that a little bit. And there's some great YouTube videos too. He really is a talented musician.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Brad. Thanks for getting us all together.
Thank you folks for being here. All of the materials too, he'll talk through that'll be available. He'll kind of premiere those today. But then also we'll get these materials up on our archived, and kind of our website we'll share with everyone so that they've got access to it. I know a lot of you that are joining us today are looking for tools, resources, and strategies that you can use in the classroom ASAP. So we want to make sure we get this stuff to you. And then also it'll be great because in talking with Dave about what he has planned for today, there's going to be opportunities for just conversation and discussion, just checking in with some of the successes that you may be having. And then obviously just some of the pitfalls of some of the challenges that so many teachers are up against right now. So it'd be great to kind of have some of that conversation as well, as we have this mad rush to put materials online. Hi, everybody that's joining us. So we do have participants as they enter just muted. Dr. Dave Harms will be with us here soon, and he's got a great presentation planned. So you do just kind of want to make sure that you can hear okay. The chat function, though, has been activated. So if there kind kind of along the way, if there's questions that you might have, things that you might want to share in the immediate, you do have that chat window that you can kind of use. And we'll get started here probably in about 8 minutes. So just kind of hang tight. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Really excited to have you here. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. I know Dr. David Harms has a wonderful presentation put together, and he'll be getting started here soon. You should know, though, everybody, once they come in, we do ask that you mute your microphone. So we do, we are kind of muting microphones just to make sure that we prevent any feedback that might happen. The chat window, though, has been activated. So if there's comments or questions that you might have along the way, please feel free to, for those of you that have logged in online, feel free to use that chat window. There will be an opportunity towards the towards the midway point of the workshop, the webinar, to open it up for discussion and have a conversation on some of the experiences that you're having. Maybe troubleshoot a little bit and hopefully share some success stories. So just kind of hang tight. I should say too, also on the line, we have Vice President of the Ohio Council for the Social Studies, Jim O'Connor is with us, as well as the Executive Director of the Ohio Council for the Social Studies, Teresa. And I think both of those have been unmuted. Jim, I don't know if there's anything you want to talk kind of while we're waiting for Dave.
Can you hear me, Brad?
Yeah, hear you great.
Oh, Well, yeah. I just wanted to welcome everybody to the webinar and hope that you can make the other ones as well, and that you get certificates for being here.
So one of the things that we'll ask for teachers that are joining us today, there'll be this is the inaugural webinar to the Ohio Council for the Social Studies Professional Development Series. So this is the first webinar that we have scheduled, and really excited. We've been rehearsing these kind of for the past few days. I know a lot of you, like us, have been on many web calls, but we wanted to make sure that this goes well. But just please pardon any dust that we may have as we begin to roll these workshops out. We have an amazing lineup of presenters scheduled. At the Ohio Council for the Social Studies website, you'll see that we're continuing to add to that list of webinars. We hope that you can join us for as many as possible. And even if you can't join us, the really nice thing is that we are going to archive our webinars along with the materials that the presenters share at the Ohio Council for the Social Studies website. And you'll be able to access all of this kind of on demand, even for those sessions that you're unable to attend. But at the same time, we'll kind of continue to update the sessions in our calendar for those of you that can join us live at any of those that are scheduled.
Yeah, Brad, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Also, for everyone joining us today, if there's a topic and a certain something that you're very familiar with, or you specialize in, you feel comfortable in hosting, just send something to Brad, and we can look at adding you to the webinars, because this is something we're going to be continuing, throughout the year.
Yeah, we're actually always looking for session topics, and then even just presenters. Like I said, we're always looking for sessions that are put together by teachers that kind of have experience in that topic specific to social studies, teaching and learning social studies. So if there's something even that you'd really like to showcase, please kind of get in touch with us. And it's something that we would sort of, love to put together for members. The plan is to just continue to grow our professional development offerings online. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a great point. That say you're thinking about being a presenter at the conference in the fall time, and maybe you haven't presented before. Your topic can be a webinar. You get that experience down, learn from that, and that'll help you during your presentation.
Oh, really?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Dave will be here shortly. I just kind of got a text from him. He's running a little bit behind. But I do want to welcome you to the kind of inaugural. This is going to be our first webinar that's sponsored by the Ohio Council for the Social Studies. My name is Brad Maguth. I am the president of the Ohio Council for the Social Studies, actually just a professor at the University of Akron in their teacher education program. And really excited about the professional development series, the online professional development series. I know a lot of teachers around the country, even up here in our neck of the woods in Ohio, they're looking for resources, they're looking for tools that they can use in order to bring social studies to life kind of for their students in these challenging times. So I am kind of sharing with you the Ohio Council for the Social Studies website. And what's really nice is that on our website, there's a link for our professional development webinar series, which many of you have gone to in order to register. And you'll be able to see all of the sessions that we have currently posted. And what's really nice is after today, we will list the archived materials on the website in case you want to go back and review to check any of the tools featured by Dr. Harms out again, kind of in the future. So we'll have those kind of up and running. The PowerPoints, the actual MP4 from today's conversation for this session, and then also for sessions to come. All of you will receive a survey that will ask you to complete upon the completion of today's webinar. For those people who are members of the Ohio Council for the Social Studies, what's really nice is that we'll email you a certificate that will be a certificate of completion you can use for contact hours. So members will kind of have that. For those of you that aren't members, what's really nice is that the Ohio Council for the Social Studies membership's $10. That's it. And any members that attend any of our PDs, they get those certificates kind of for free. So literally attend all of the online sessions and get a certificate for everyone for just $10. The $10 goes towards our nonprofit, which is TSS, is the state's largest advocacy organization for teachers in the state of Ohio. So we have a huge conference in November. Hopefully, many of you come by, and you'll see us actually this year's scheduled for November. And we have about 100 presenters, different topics in Columbus, Ohio, and keynote speakers. But then outside of members being able to attend our conference, and we have newsletters that kind of get sent out, news blasts. We maintain a presence in our advocacy to make sure that state lawmakers understand the importance of history, social studies, education in schools and communities. And then also we have a great journal too called the Ohio Social Studies Review. It's, I think, one of the best journals in the country, but I guess I'm a little bit biased. That's dedicated specifically to the advancement of K-12 social studies education with some really great tools kind of in there. And another thing too is we give out our awards to teachers. Those of you that are in Ohio, we always give out our awards to Teachers of the Year that we present at our conference. So for those of you that are in Ohio, those nominations are open. Please nominate a teacher for an award. That's always pretty special.
All right, Brad, is that all that you got for the intro?
Yep, that's it, Dave.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Harms. I'm going to lead you some things. Hopefully, we get some really good conversation at the end of this, and we can all help each other out. So, it's my first time using this, so I'm learning, but I think I've got it. I'm going to share my screen for a little bit. Hopefully, everybody can see that now. All right, so the whole idea of this one is moving social studies classes online. My background is that I teach 10 to 12 social studies at a career center. So none of my students usually, I mean, maybe a couple, but most of my students are not there for social studies. So I have to find other ways to engage their interest. I've also teach at the secondary level at Yours University since 2008 and have a PhD in educational tech. So I've got a lot of pedagogy and all that stuff on online learning, but it is a different beast of what we've been asked to do in Ohio here in the last week. So I'm going to try and take you through my journey and then where I'm going, and we'll see if that helps some people out. I'm using Google Classroom. That's what our school has got for this year. We are piloting a new program that goes straight into our grade book, but that is not set up yet until next year. So that's unfortunate. So that means every time I grade in Google Classroom, I'm going to have to take my grades and put them into our grade book as well. Every student has a school-wide account, just so everybody knows what my situation is. Google Classroom is pretty easy to use. And then I use a lot of Google quizzes through Google Forms. And I'll show you how I do that. So this is my class. I posted this morning. You can see that I've got things due today. So now here's the problems that we have with online, and especially with my experience through college. There is a huge increase in cheating. Unfortunately, at the collegiate level, I end up turning in 2 to 3 students out of 50 for turning in somebody else's homework. I mean, there's ways that I'm teaching computers at the college level, and I have different little ways of making sure that they're doing their own work. And unfortunately, some of them try to do the easy way. So that's an issue. And I'm going to talk about that and how I deal with that. Lack of internet access in rural districts. I don't have an answer to that right now. Penta is actually trying to Xerox papers and send them out in big packets to these students, but the campus just closed, so I don't know how they're going to do that in a continual place. Student apathy. My students think that they're on a spring break, so I've got about 25% right now. I do have some kids doing their homework. turning it on time, but like 25%. Online learning, I did my whole PhD online, so I know it from the student aspect and the teacher aspect. It takes more time. It's a lot of time grading. I mean, I spend a lot of time grading. Grading goes slower online. And then I do have a couple students who are court ordered by the state that they're not allowed to access any technology because of legal issues that happened in the past. So that's another one of the problems that I'm working with. So last week, everything was hunky-dory in my class. We're doing a face-to-face class. We're talking about Australia. I am teaching world issues this semester. I also teach American government, but that was last semester, so I've got good resources for both of them. But we're taking a look at the lost generation in Australia. So we're talking about Australia right now. And I had them watch a movie. It's a one-day movie from Walt Disney of Australia on Rabbit Proof Fence, which is a book written by Doris Pinkerton. They got all that done. That was Friday. Everything's cool. They've got done with the movie. It's like, okay, on Monday we'll start working on stuff. And of course, Monday never came. When I'm doing my online class, my class is asynchronous. There's no way to set this up with the time that I was given so that all my students would be online at the same time. There was no way to do that. So I set even my college classes, I set it up asynchronous. I do it week by week at the college level. Here's the assignments you got to do this week. It's due Sunday at midnight. In high school, what I'm doing is I'm putting up this is what you should be doing every day. And then weekly, this is when I grade. And I'll show you my Google Classroom. The nice thing about this is not only, I realize I only have 25% of my students right now participating online, but when this is over, all of that stuff's going to be on Google Classroom. So all I have to say to the students who didn't do anything or didn't have internet access or whatever, go to the Google Classroom, get your stuff, catch up, and it's all there. I don't have to Xerox stuff. That is really nice. And then the big thing for online learning is you just got to change your perspective a little bit. When I plan for the week, I say, what is the major objective? How can the students show mastery? And that's what I'm really looking for, because I think I'm going to talk next about real issues. Yeah, this is the big issue. It's easy to cheat now. I guess it always has been easy to cheat, but now it's ridiculous. My students, if I give them a worksheet and they're working in class, I'll see somebody pick up a cell phone and snap, and that goes immediately to everybody else's phone. So they think you're doing research on their phone, but they're actually looking at somebody else's homework, copying it down. And there's a couple examples I gave you of just a quick web search of all the different easy ways to go. That bottom one is from Google. You can ask it any question, get help on any subject, access step-by-step explanations. They get the whole thing worked out for you. On top is EssayBot. So, if you're writing essays, that's usually a thing that you can give them that they can't cheat on. But now with EssayBot, they're kind of cheating on that too. So that makes it really, really difficult, especially when you can't monitor them. They're at home. Their parents may not be monitoring them, and they have access to their phones so they could talk to everybody else in the class. So one of the big things is that if you put a pre-made or even a teacher-made worksheet up online and have kids do it and then print it back on there, many of your students are going to cheat. And I understand that. It's not that I like it at all, but I try and work that into my lesson. So I'll show you how I deal with this. It's tough. And hopefully maybe none of you have this issue, but I sure do at my school. Here is an example of a great lesson that I like to do, but I can only do it face-to-face, and it's a no technology lesson. This is out of the TCI government book. It's a constitution search where they have little questions. They have to go and answer all that. I found this answer key online in less than 30 seconds. So pre-made worksheets, you go down to the bottom where it says Teachers Curriculum Institute 2 Inc., Chapter 456. You type that in, answer key, and there it is right there on your phone. You don't have to do a whole lot with that. So that's something to be aware of. So here's my plan. I'm trying to create ways that even if a student is cheating on the basic stuff, they'd have to go back and look at what they cheated on, the content, to be able to finish hopefully a unique project. And of course, don't get me wrong, not all students cheat. There's a lot of really good students out there, so don't put me that way. I do take readings. I still have some written stuff. What I do in class, especially for IEP students, because I have 40 to 50% IEP students where I teach, I do everything with guided notes for them. We don't have a textbook in my class. It's a world issues class. We don't even have a textbook for government. So I give them guided notes. I grade those notes to make sure they fill them out, and then they have something to uh, copy from or study for the test and that type of thing. So what I'm doing with this is you can continue to put your guided notes online. In fact, I do. And the students could print them out and then copy them down. But then I always use a Google form on the online, a quiz with the same questions or some questions about what's going on, just to make sure that they're doing the readings. Now, this quiz, I understand, could be copied or somebody gets all the answers. They take pictures of their phone and they share it with everybody of every question. I'm aware of that. But the next part then is an application project. It's unique that says a student has to do it by themselves to actually go back and learn that material. It's a very difficult situation. It's something I struggle with. It's not easy, but I've got some things to show you and some ways to do that. So what I'm hoping is, in order to complete the big project that they've got to do, some kind of application, they've got to go back and use the stuff from the reading. So that way I make sure that they have to go through and get that content. That's important. Here are some great tools. Don't think like you have to do this all yourself. Hip Hughes, you could teach the entire American government class and not do a single video. He does a great job. Half of my students think he's funny. The other half kind of find him annoying, but he gives the stuff. I mean, he does a nice job. There are other people besides Hip Hughes that do this. I put Khan Academy. I'm going to use this World War II in the Pacific because Australia, we're going to World War II next week. So I've already found that out. Khan Academy's got this. I'm going to do a Google quiz, talk about 10 questions maybe about what I saw in the movie, knowing that maybe they would copy that or not. But then I'm going to create a project. And in fact, next week, I'm using Read, Share, Think, I believe, trading cards. So they're going to create 4 trading cards on World War II in the Pacific. And it's a website that gives them real distinct stuff that they have to do to put in there. And I find it kind of fun. It's a different way to do it. And the students are all creating their own things. So it's easy to see, if somebody copied somebody else's, it will be real easy. All right. So this week, we had Monday where it was mandatory teachers go in. I don't know what your guys' situation was. And then Tuesday was optional. And Wednesday was start of all online learning. So I did a 3-day lesson this week from it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. First thing I did is I uploaded my PowerPoint on the lost generation. So in Australia, for 100 years, the government took half-caste children, children of mixed blood, and sent them to special schools and tried to teach them how to be white, and then they had to be servants for other people. And it stopped in 1971, so it's kind of a current thing. So what we watched the movie last week. It was one period, and then we start worrying about the government in Australia actually admitted guilt. So that is a big thing, because then the Aborigine can go back and say, hey, we're going to sue. And of course, the Australian government doesn't have enough money to pay for all of this. So what they did is they created Sorry Day. So that's the lesson that I've got this week. So I put a PowerPoint up. It's a 3-day lesson. PowerPoint, they didn't have to do anything for it. I put it up knowing that this project usually takes, and you can see it there, usually takes 2 days for them to do. So I put everything up there open for the week. Here's the PowerPoint, do it on Wednesday. Here's the quiz over the PowerPoint to make sure you looked at it, or at least copied the answers to somebody else, knowing that you should have looked at it. And then I have a differentiation bingo project. This is an in-class lesson that I have. What they do is they have a bingo board. There's different projects. The middle one's the hardest one. And then they have to create a bingo. Sorry for the hands. They have to create a bingo with 2 other partners, and then they get 40 out of 50 points for just doing their box. And then if they do the bingo, they get 10 extra points from their thing. So that works out really nice in class. But since there was no warning, I had these Xeroxed off on Friday. I decided the best bet for this week, because I'm scrambling, was I just let the students pick one box. So students pick out a box on that. They got 2 days to do it, and they put it in there. So I opened everything up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is what you got to do this week so they could plan. And I have had 25% of the students who are already done with Friday's assignment because they worked on it and they have time. One of the key parts of the project, though, was it was a face-to-face lesson. I wanted them to teach other people, which is one of my things that I really like to do with students, because it really shows that they've got it. So I wanted them to go around to the school and talk to 10 other people and explain what sorry day is and collect their signature that they told them what they did. Well, that's impossible in this environment. So I went ahead and just took that off. I said, if there's a box that says go get signatures, please don't, because this is what's going on. Now, all of this stuff could have been avoided if I had a little bit more time. If I knew I was teaching this online, I could have created virtual teams. If my student, like at college, the students are all online, they're all ready to go. I could just give them, hey, these three people are working together in a virtual team. These three people are working together. But since I didn't have that time, I wasn't able to do that. And I don't have all my students online yet. The other thing I could have done is I could have had them educate other people through a social media post or a Weebly website or something along that lines of saying, hey, you know, should give me proof that you tried to educate other people. If you're looking at the C3, this isn't a C3 lesson by any means, but I always look at that type of stuff when I'm trying to design things. And that's one of the things, is trying to present your work to other people. So that was incorporated in it. So I could have done that stuff if I had a little bit more time. Here is my differentiation bingo. Obviously, I did not upload this yet, but it will be uploaded within an hour after this. And then here's one of my students today who already turned in her homework assignment. I took her name off, but what she had to do, this is an example of something they can't copy, is she did the illustrated poem. I must have had the bit strip for education. Bit strip went away, so I changed that box this year and made it an illustrated poem about it. And she did the illustrated poem, turned it in, and she just took a picture of it and turned it into Google Classroom. So don't think that everything has to be done on a computer because it's online. They can always take pictures of this. I got T-shirts that people are making and different things like that you can do that way. All right, other ways that you could do this. Lectures. If you do a lecture, like I'm going to do a lecture on World War II in the Pacific for Australia, I can record that lecture once and use it with all three classes. And then I could use it next year if I really wanted to, or if I'm out with a sub, I've already got the lecture recorded. So I do have a lot of government stuff already recorded, but world issues I don't get to teach as much, so I don't have as many. Posted online, students can watch them as many times as possible. Anybody who has IEP students, if they don't get something, it's there. They can watch it 15 times if they want to and get it going. Absent students are able to catch right up. Guided notes posted with the quizzes, so the students can, if a student really needs that help with the guided notes, they can use their guided notes with the quiz. You could have your students fill out the guided notes and submit them if that was important for you. Not something I'm doing right now. I'm coming with the platform. Thanks for the comment. I'm using EduCreations, which is one of the, I have a whole bunch of tools I'm going to share at the end. Now, this is no problem, Stacy. This is a example of what I'm doing with my college class this week. So my college class, I teach computers, but I wanted to give you a discussion. I haven't had discussions yet, but you know, when you teach face-to-face, you do a lot of discussing with students. You do a lot of answering questions. You do, you know, and online you can do that. That's through a discussion board or something along that line. So I wanted to give you an example of the wording that I do to create a discussion. The students are looking at, my college students are looking at the difference between Google and Word because it's a class on Microsoft Word, and trying to figure out what's your analysis, what's each one of them good at. So 250 to 300 words, that's important. They have to have that word thing, or else you're going to get 2 sentences. And then you also, you could even add on this. You could say, you know, have to pose this by Thursday, and then by Sunday you have to comment on 3 other people's. This class on college is really good, so I didn't have to put that in there. I put it in the first one. So that helps you start a discussion. If everybody's posted and then everybody's discussing, and then you can get in there and you can ask questions and things like that to really help them. Make sure your directions are as clear as possible. That's, you know, normal teaching stuff. Students are learning online as well. So Wednesday, I put up a Google quiz. I thought it was all set, ready to go. And one of my students says, I can't access it. So what happened was the button said, only Penta students, which is where I teach. We have Penta Gmail. Well, he must have been logged into a home Gmail, so he couldn't get into it. So I took that button off, and we were able to easily figure out that he was able to do that. Test is something I'm working with. I use Socrative.com, but unfortunately, when they're at home, I can't monitor them. They could have 2 computers or their phone and get all the answers. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with tests yet. It may turn into a project for a test. My IEP 504 students support Working on that. I do have some things in there. The biggest thing about being online, and this comes from being an online teacher forever, you got to be flexible. You know, things happen. Unfortunately, a lot of my college students wait till 11:59 to look at the homework that's due at midnight. But sometimes real things happen, like, hey, I turned in the wrong file. That happens a lot, especially like high school students. If they turn anything with Google, they forget to give me permission or all this other stuff. So all you got to do when you grade that stuff is just say, hey, this file I can't open. Can you give me something else? And that means you're going to be doing more grading, which is the unfortunate part of it. All right, here is the platform of what I use to record my lessons. I have it on an iPad, but I can also have it on my PC. And I do have, if I get out of this, I think I pulled it up. So I have so many tabs working. Here we go. Oh, get that out of the way. Oh, there's Powtoons. That's a good one. All right, here is what you do with Educreations. This is a lesson on some of the villains of Europe. I'll just play 10 seconds of it.
Hello, today we're going to take a look at some of the villains of Europe. Famous places, famous faces. Our first villain is Henry VIII from England. Ruled from 1491 to 1547. He's a two.
All right, kind of boring, but I can make it a little bit better. In fact, I'll go to this one since I'm already out. This is my new favorite way to deliver. This is something called Powtoon, and I have a slide on it easier, but this is a little bit more exciting for me.
Hello, my name is Dr. Harms. And I'm so excited. Wait for it.
This is an
wait
intro
it.
for a show. Or,
This project. Today we're going to learn about Gibbons v. Ogden.
all right, everybody's favorite topic, I'm sure. But that was an introduction I give to my students, and I introduce the project for them. And then I actually have the Hip Hughes video for them to take a look at. So the Educreations is the first one. It's real easy. If you just put your PowerPoint on there, you import a PowerPoint, it puts it all on a different slide, and you just talk through it just like you normally do. It's nice and easy. Some of my math teachers at my school, oh, my video was lagging. What is the platform used to record the videos? All right, this is the first one, Educreations. Sorry about that. And the second one's Powtoon, which will come up on a little bit later on a different slide. And you'll have all of this PowerPoint in the next hour. So there's what I think this Articles of Confederation one that I did. And then you have a link, share this down there, you can see, and you just put that link into your Google Classroom. Now, I'm using Google Classroom this year. Last year I used Edmodo. It doesn't matter if you're using, there's a whole bunch of them. Most of them, they all have their little quirks. They're all pretty much the same. So you can pop that into Edmodo just as easy as Google Classroom. Now, another thing that you might not think about, the students, if they've got a computer, Educreations is free. So I had students, we're talking about blood diamonds in Africa. When we were in Africa, they went and did research and did a presentation on Educreations. So it's like an oral report. And that worked out really nice because you know it's that student because you can hear the student's voice. I'm in a unique position as a high school student or teacher right now because I know the students. And in college, I don't know their voice because I never see them. But we all know their voices right now. All right, so here is, and then we're going to get to a conversation. Are the students required to download a program? No, they can look at it in Google, whatever. And if it's the Educreations, it's a video. So they just play it. It's stored online. So they don't have to download it. And I understand that that's a big issue. Not only do some of my students not have internet access or good internet access, many of them only have their phones or computers from, I joke about it, but a 387 from 1987 might be the only computer in their house. So that's a good point. What I try and do with these projects are, I want them to be technology based. I try and make them collaborative. Right now, my students aren't able to be collaborative because of the situation. So I like to get them the discussions and that type of stuff. That's coming next week. And I want them to learn the standards. Google Forms, great way to test to see if they watched your presentation or not. Not perfect, but a great way. And I believe that we have an entire presentation on Google Forms and Google Tools. So I won't go into that a whole lot because that's coming up next week. Fakebook is a good way, and I like this one. It creates a website that looks like a Facebook page, or you could say it's an Instagram or whatever. It's not fake. It has nothing to do with Facebook. It's a education company out of England, and you could use this for character development. I do that for certain historical things where they have to know the people. It's free unless well, I can go back. Unless that yellow dot in the middle is an ad. So, Adam, you may turn your microphone on.
Hi.
Yeah. I saw you.
good.
Okay, he must have just been waving. All right, Glogster is an online poster maker. It is free up until a certain point. I've never reached the point where it's not free. I didn't like using it at my school because it lagged too much, but at home, if the students have decent computers, this is a great option. This is not something I would make all my students do. When I show you my differentiation, or I showed you that differentiation thing, I give them choices of what they want to do. That way, if they start a Glogster and their computer doesn't work, they're not stuck. They can go to the next level or different. Hey, I'm not doing this Glogster anymore. I'm going to create a Kahoot. I love Vokies. Vokies are a lot of fun. This is my class here, so you can see that I have a very exciting class. There's Bill Clinton even there. But what I do there is that they have to talk, and they have a computer voice that they create, but they have to talk about a topic, and I give them a rubric. For example, I believe this one was on the differences in a three group. One person was talking about the Yoruba in Africa. One person was talking about the Hausa Fulani. One was talking about the Igbo. So each one was in charge of one of the groups, and they made one of these things talking about it, and they put them in as three different things so that you could do compare and contrast. It was a lot of fun. Vokies are free. They do have a teacher version. The teacher version will allow you to approve everybody. I'm teaching a level of student where if they put something in that's dumb, I just send that email to SAO. I mean, it's not a big deal. You could always have them record stuff. Just for downloading an MP3, you can use Audacity, which is a free program. They do have to download Audacity, but it takes 2 seconds, and they can record themselves. And my students are really good at recording MP3s, so that's not usually a big issue for students. So you can have podcasts put right in. I had them doing a radio interview with somebody from the Constitution Convention last semester. So this is one of my favorites, Animoto. Now, they will give you a free teacher account if you just email them, which is great. That'll make you do long videos, but I don't ever use that with my students. I use that with my band, so I can do videos and check out the cool stuff. What it does is it makes an MTV video, but it makes it really easy to do. So I do everybody's favorite topic in American government. We're going to do this next week for Greek and Roman gods. But everybody's favorite topic is the election of 1800, which led to the 12th Amendment and all that stuff. My students, that puts them to sleep. So what I did, as I said, all right, you're in charge of making a 30-second movie trailer. You and a partner. So one person does the presidential candidates, one person does the vice presidential candidates. Create a movie, and then you hire whatever actor or actress that you want to be in the movie and create a trailer. So all they have to do with this Animoto is they have to go and take Google Pictures, find Thomas Jefferson, find, John Malkovich, put them in there, say these people is this. And then the social studies part of this is I make them create a PowerPoint slide with the plot of the movie of what happened in the election of 1800. They have a good time with that. And then the other person does, it's only 6 pictures long for the 30 seconds. The other nice thing about this is if you ever gave a student a movie project, sometimes you don't see that student for like 3 weeks because they're spending all this time on dumb stuff. Animoto's easy, fast, one day. They don't have a lot of options about blurring or fading in or all that other stuff. It does it all for them. So I do strongly recommend Animoto. It's a lot of fun to see what their types of things. You just have to be a little creative on how you're going to get them into your content. I would use this all the way down to at least 7th grade. I think they could handle it. I always try and get them to do Prezzies as well. I mean, they do like doing Google Slides. That's easy for them. They've been doing it for a long time. If I do something quick with them, I'll do them with that, but I'm always trying to push them a little bit further. So this is on the Syria G20 conference that we talked about in current events. Here's the Powtoon. You see there's one of mine, and then I have my goals of my lesson are in there, so I can keep that in. So that's kind of like my intro to the lesson every day. Just like what's on my chalkboard at school, students will be able to do this, students will be able to do this, which standard it is. And then I introduce what the project's going to be. And it's nice, it's easy to do. I created that one in about 20 minutes, so it's not hard. You just record little bits of your voice, and all those animations are already there. And the students think it's kind of fun. All right, this is my testing software, Socrative. I've got all my tests in there. In normal school, I let them retake tests, and I do standard-based grading. I don't know how I'll do that now, and I don't know how we're going to do the test yet. So I'm still working on tests on that. I just don't know how I can get students to take tests without having them on their phone doing the test along with it. It's something I'm going to have to deal with. I mean, I think the projects are going to be worth more than the tests. I'll still give them the tests so they're familiar with the test questions for the state test, but the results are probably not going to be a little skewed. I use Quizlet a lot. Here's a student's Quizlet that they turned in today. I'm sorry, Brad, I missed that comment. I'll go back to it. What happened is one of the options was to create a Quizlet, and then we would play at Quizlet Live, which is the game part of it, which is a lot of fun in class. But now they have the Quizlet. Those Quizlets I can use next year if I teach the same topic. They're shareable, and the students can go ahead and study. They can use them. I don't know if you're familiar with Quizlet, but it's been around a long time. The bad part about Quizlet is, like Australia Sorry Day, not too many people have done that before. But if you do like all 27 amendments, there's 9,000 Quizlets already made, and they can just copy them. So keep that in mind. All right, this was last week. It's a Saturi. It's a really easy to use timeline maker. So this is an example of one of my students' timelines. In January, of course, we had the Iran deal. So they were doing the history of Iran-United States relations. So I had them pick out 10 important things that happened. They got a picture. They did a paragraph about each one. It turned it into a nice online thing. And they submitted it online. It was great. Teachers get a free account for 30 days. So when I went into my account today, it was done. So it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to spend money for it. And they said, okay, how do I get 30 more days? Invite 3 more teachers. It was me, myself, and I, because I have a lot of emails. So I got another 30 days. So it's a cool timeline maker if you need something cool for a timeline. Newslia is provided by our school. So I don't know how much this costs, but it's really good. It's news from around the world. News LEA is English language arts, but it's for everything. For example, we're going to go into modern Australia and Australia's brush fires. This was on News LEA today. It differentiates reading levels to the student. So if you know that you have a student with an IEP, it will actually go in and give you the same article at a lower reading level. And if you have an advanced student, it'll have the advanced, the real deal. And then they have pre-made quizzes to go along with it. I'm sure that they have a trial or something along that lines, but it's really good if you want to do those types of things. Current events are always good. USA Today is free, so you can take a look at all those different things. Just, got to watch I always have my students watch their sources. iMovie. Most of my students, about half, have iPhone, but also they have movie makers and other things. So this is another thing that you could have where you definitely know it's your student because you'll see your student in the video. You could have them record themselves doing that. They do that all the time. That's what TikTok is. They love doing that type of stuff. So if they don't like sharing it with the class but if they just have this going on, and then as Dr. Maguth has reminded me many times, there's also Flipgrid that you can use where the students actually record a response. So if you wanted to do a discussion, they would do a quick 2 minutes on what do you think about the coronavirus shutting down today? And then every student would have their little face like the Brady Bunch, and they click on them and you can listen to what they have to say to do a discussion. So I do that same thing with iMovie. Here's a Google slide my students did. We were looking at different body modifications around the world, and they found some foot binding pictures. I said, put the pictures there, and then they did a history research matrix of where they came from, what it does, what's the problems, and all that type of stuff. Fast, easy, one dayer. I mean, if you need something fast, they like doing that because it's easy. No learning curve. It's easy. I got this from Mr. Bill Hilt. So if you know Bill Hilt from Perrysburg well, he used to be Perrysburg Junior High. I think he's Perrysburg um, Middle School now. But anyways, I went to a presentation and he said, memes, have students make memes. What a great way. They love memes. The only downside about memes is that there are some memes that are not school appropriate. So if you go to Instant Meme Maker, it already has some of the more famous memes. You can see this is when the government was shut down. I think it was last fall. And one of my students made a meme. Not sure if the government shut down or it's a holiday I don't know about. So that's kind of cool. And then they pop that in there, and we usually have the funniest meme competition. And that some of my students. So I had one student who made 45 memes over the weekend trying to get the funniest one. So that was a bonus for me. iPicky. So if you ever try and do like Photoshop, some of your students they don't have that. So you can always do iPicky online. It's free, and it does the same thing as Photoshop. Students usually know about this already because they're doing this with their pictures. And Weebly for Education. Weebly's a website maker. Here's a sorry day. Obviously, we're doing sorry day this week. One of the boxes that they could do is create a Weebly website. What I asked them to do is talk about the lost generation, and then apply it. What other groups around the world? They had to pick 3 other groups that could deserve a sorry day as well. So that's why this. They look nice. There's another example, World War II from the Pacific, which we're going to do next week. This is from last year. Now, this leads us to the big issues that I'm dealing with, and hopefully you have some suggestions too. Number one, student cheating issues. That's huge. That's why I try and make it so that I have at least one assignment that they can't cheat on. I have to hear their voice or see their handwriting or something. Lack of the internet outside. I mean, not just lack of internet, lack of computers, lack of students want the easy way, so they'll rather do a Google slide than anything else. Parents are having trouble. Yeah. Students on task, student buy-in. I'm teaching a lot of seniors. My seniors are looking at it and saying, hey, this Friday's the 9 weeks. If I pass it, I don't have to do anything the rest of the year. And incorporating higher level Thicky is something I'm always trying to do. All right, here is the end of my presentation part. There is my email. Feel free to email me, and I will put this on OCSS's website as soon as we're done here today. I want to give back the thing, and so we can start talking about stuff. That goes there. Use Elliot.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is Jim O'Connor. Nice job, and thanks for sharing all your knowledge. Question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
I did my first Google form quiz,
Yep.
and it was for last Friday, and so the timing was good because I haven't seen those students since. So the students completed the quiz, and I looked at the results, and it shows me each individual get 40 questions and which ones they missed and which ones they got right. But does that program just give you a grade overall, like 85%, 90%? I couldn't find that.
Yeah. You have to end the quiz. So I was looking at that yesterday. I remember my students taking a quiz. I had 25% of my students have answered the quiz so far. If I turn that quiz off, then they won't be able to answer it. So I got to I'll wait till Friday to do that, and then I can reopen it. But then it'll give you the grades that you need. You're looking for individual grades, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
End the quiz. Look for the end the quiz. Hey, by the way, everybody, I muted everybody because they're offering the pro version free for everybody now. Awesome. Go ahead, and I unmuted everybody so we didn't get a lot of feedback. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, feel free to do that. And you'll just make sure that we don't everybody talk at the same time. But I'm looking for questions and anything I can help you out with. I'm going to turn the chat window on a little bit so I can see that. Usually, oh yeah, it's probably News ELA. I'm not a very good speller. That's why I'm a social studies teacher. Sorry about that. I do Google Classroom. Last year I did Edmodo. There's very little difference for was that Robin? Students required to download a program. No, I answered that one already. Okay, I was just looking through all the different comments. Feel free to add a comment if you want. I'm looking for hands. If anybody's got a hand. Anybody have any questions? Could you put the fake book slide again? Okay, I could do that. Like I said, you'll have access to this as soon as I upload it when I get done. So fake book slide. I do it maybe once a year. Boy, coronavirus, no new cases. Good. Sorry for the things. I've not figured out how to get rid of those. They're annoying me. There you go. Fake book slide. All right. So this is an English company. It's a web page. Yeah, like I said, my news pops in. I haven't figured out how to turn that off. Yeah, that's in here. How do you want the document as a Word document? I could put it up as a Word document. There's a folder that Dr. Maguth has created for everybody that I could put that differentiation document up there. Seems like my daily news thing is coming, but here's the fake book. Now, what you do is you make your assignment. You got to make sure that you got to make sure that you have a very good rubric of what they want them to do. So if I have a rubric, I'm going to say you got your character. You want to have 5 conversations with 5 other people from the time. And then you also want to have 6 friends or something like that. And that's a website, has nothing to do with Facebook. The pictures come up as Google pictures. So they just do a Google search for them and put them in there. Quit sharing Google Chrome here. All right, we're back to this. Sometimes school which programs you can or cannot do. Yes, that's for sure. Our school used to be really, really bad about that, but they've lightened up a little bit. We didn't even have Google until 4 years ago, so, but I think they've had a change of heart. Are there any other questions? Yes, please. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Aaron.
Hi. So one of the things that I really try to strive for in my classroom is preparing to ask questions by or engaging in online discussions so they're prepared for what they're going to have to do afterwards. And when I'm trying to get them to discuss with one another, one of the things that I have done is have them post professional posts in response to each other, that they're not criticizing, that they're giving a compliment. How do you encourage genuine online discussion?
All right. It's all your framework when you set it up. I have them say the 3-sentence rule. I got to be on topic. It's got to ask a question, and I give them a little in my syllabus. I give them a little examples. Like you could ask a question about what that person's saying. You could say, "Nice job. Do you have more information about this?" So I do it through examples, and then it's by my grading practices. So I'll show them some anti-examples. This isn't going to get you any points. This isn't a discussion. And if they are if it's an issue where it comes up with somebody says something really mean or something along that, it's all online. So I show them, hey, all I got to do is send it to our student affairs office and you're out of here. So usually I put all that stuff in front right when I set it up. Here's examples of what I'm looking for. Here's examples who's not going to do it. Here's an example of what's going to get you a suspension or something. And I think if you present yourself, at least it's worked for me, if you present yourself as somebody that, hey, this isn't going to be an issue, then they kind of take it seriously. If you don't go over that stuff, then they're going to try and test the limit. I hope that helped.
It does. Thank you.
Brainstorm abilities for formal assessments, especially as it looks like we might be out for longer than anticipated. Yes, I agree. I'm still going to give the Socrative test or Google quizzes. I'm just going to have to incorporate other grades that I know they have to do themselves. It doesn't say who said this one. It just showed up on my thing. Oh, here it is, Amy, I think. So that's how I'm going to handle it until my district figures out something else. That's going to be a huge issue. I know when you do online learning at my school, we do Edgenuity. They the screen locks, so they can't go anywhere else. So that's something I have to look into. I don't have access to that right now, but I would say that if your school's really looking for that, I put my discussion boards right into Google Classroom. Yeah. And I put a topic in there, I do it as an assignment, and they go in and they just comment on the topics. All right, Angela is talking about more application or higher level questions. That's great, and I love it. It's hard to do online because even Socrative will send you, if you say, here, write an essay, which you can do, it sends me the answers as an Excel spreadsheet, and I have to each student's essay and spread it all out. So what I've been doing is in face-to-face having the written questions on a piece of paper. I'm not going to be able to do that anymore, so I'm going to have to figure out something along that lines. I might do just essays as an assignment, do the test, and then have an assignment with this. Here's 3 essays for you to do. It looks like Teresa has a method that she's able to use, computer lockdown. The problem with computer lockdown is that that's not a problem for my students because they got phone. They'll just look them up on the phone. So keep that in mind too. When I did my PhD study, I had a student that said that she got through her entire online class by just taking pictures of the content and using her phone for the whole thing. So that's something you got to really look at. Any other questions? Feel free to jump on the mic. We got about 5 more minutes left. I'd love to hear what you guys are struggling with. And if you have anything for me, I'll do my best. Hopefully you're getting some good stuff out of it. That's the whole idea of this. This is where I'd use a randomizer at school and just randomly pick somebody out.
I have a quick question.
Yes. What's your name? I didn't see it.
Tim Porter.
Hi, Tim.
How you doing? Do you ever use CommonLit?
I haven't used CommonLit. What is it?
Something I'm just starting to look into right now. I was advised by a couple other teachers from another school district where they're using primary sources. It also has guided reading where you could select for certain students. You know, you could kind of for your IEP have to answer as well as guided questions as well. So the students would have to answer a question before they can continue on and so forth. But it's all primary sources for the most part.
That sounds great. Sounds like News ELA or whatever, News ELA, sorry, for primary sources. I just wrote it down so I could take a look at it myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Said students take a picture. Andrea asked if students could take a picture, send via Classroom. All I do is create an assignment in Classroom, and then they can attach a file to it. So that's a picture file. So just make an assignment, and they can put a picture up there. So with my differentiation bingo that I did this week, they did the same thing. CommonLit has text sets. I'm having my students actually make Kahoots. So they go in and create an account and make them, and for an assignment, they can play. If you were doing it synchronously, where all the students are logged in the same time, yeah, you could play Kahoot. But asynchronously, I don't know how you'd be able to do that. There is a way that you could play, like when you make a Kahoot, you can play it by yourself. So if you wanted your students to play a Kahoot, you could actually have them do that and then take a screenshot when they got done that they did it. I don't know how effective that would be though. Well, I love quizzes. That's my favorite. I haven't got that in the online thing, but my students love quizzes. Quizzes allows them to level up like they do with video games. I mix them up. I do Kahoot sometimes, I do quizzes sometimes, and I do Quizlet Live too, all 3 of them, so that we don't do the same thing. Gimkit is absolutely amazing, but I don't know how we're going to use that online. I just found out about Gimkit a couple weeks ago. One of the student teachers brought it in, and my students loved it. Gimkit, you can actually freeze people. They can get level up and freeze other people. They can get it's a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you for putting that in there. I have to add Gizmit to my thing. I'm writing that down too. Thank you. Yeah, the Kahoot, they have to make sure it's public. If it's private, you'll just get a link to the Kahoot page. I had a student turn that in today, and I said, make sure you have it public. I'm going to have to email you to change it. All right, I got time for maybe one or two more questions. Is there anybody have anything that's just feel free? Well, if there's no more questions, then I'd go ahead. My email is going to be on that PowerPoint. YouTube Ed Puzzles, great research. I'll have to take a look at that too. We got some great stuff giving me some great ideas. Thank you. Oh, iCivics is amazing. Yes. I have my students play the Do You Have a Right game for weeks because we have to memorize all those amendments. What they do is they could take a screenshot of it at the end. The only problem is if you start getting the same score over and over and over again, that means somebody is make sure that they're using their name on it because they will pass those pictures around. Share your rubrics with students now. Yes. Yeah, I share the rubrics when they start the project. There's the rubric. It gives them a lot of guidance. Writing down readworks.org right now. Thank you. Sounds like everybody's got some great ideas. We should do more of these and just share. Sheg activities could easily be converted into Google quizzes. Aaron, you want to take the microphone and explain that? I'm not sure what a Sheg activity is.
Yeah, SHEG is the Stanford History Education Group. They make primary sourcing activities focused on 4 kind of key historical thinking skills. And so essentially what they do is they give you a topic, a central question, and then a series of annotated sources on it, either images or actual documents. And so it's really good, and it challenges students to think. So you can basically, they offer you sources in a worksheet. So you just take the questions from the worksheet, make it into a Google quiz. It'd be quite simple.
Awesome. Thank you. I hadn't heard of that. Thanks a lot. I've used vocabulary before. At the senior level, sometimes they think they're funny and sometimes they don't. But I think vocabulary, I think they gave me a free account for a whole year last year. So I was able to try it. There are some free things with vocabulary too. And they have some lessons inside of vocabulary. So what that does is it like takes the news for the week and they create kind of a rap to sing along with. But then they also have lessons that are already made, like for the Constitutional Convention, there's something already there. So it is good. Thanks, Stacy, for reminding me of vocabulary. All right, it's 2:30, and I don't want to keep everybody too long. So I'm Dr. Dave, and my email will be on the PowerPoint. I think you're going to have my email already. Please take out the survey. Let me know if you liked it or not, and what I should add for my next one, if you want me to do it again. And I got some great things out of this. Really cool. OCSS, I've been a member for almost as long as I've been teaching. So it's been a great organization. So check it out. And as far as that, unless anybody has anything else, we're going to call it a day. This will be recorded so you can see it on the website. Thank you. Good luck, everybody. We're going to get through this.